This is a 2022 Power Wagon. It's only got about 55,000 clicks on it. A couple things that make the Power Wagon kind of unique is it's set up to be like a true off-road vehicle. So you get the winch on the front. That's a Warren winch. It's all hidden. We'll take a look at that real quick when we do the walk around. You also get the front disconnect on the stabilizer bar. So there's a little switch you can flick on the dash and it'll disconnect that sway bar link. Allows your front wheels to really kind of articulate up and down when you're climbing over stumps and bumps and all that kind of stuff. And it's also got a true locking front and rear diff, so you can lock the front diff up and the rear diff up. So effectively what's going to happen is all four wheels will chew at the same speed, and you're going to get yourself nice and stuck with that. But then you got the winch to pull yourself out, right? So it's all good. LED headlights come with this. It's got the 8.5-inch digital screen in there with a little bit nicer interface if you're pairing your phone up, if you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We'll take a look at that when we get inside the truck. Comes with the all-terrain tires as well. These are the Goodyears. Good heavy-duty tire. Lots. I think they're a 10-ply if I remember correctly. There might be an 8. I'll have to double-check that. But they're not going to get cutting down sidewalls and that kind of stuff. Also got like a trailer light check thing that comes standard on the 3/4 tons. Makes it a little easier to check your lights are working on your trailers if you're pulling anything. We also have the level 2 package on this. Now when you go to the level 2, you're going to get the heated ventilated seats. They're also leather faced instead of being like the cloth insert, so a little bit better quality there. Overhead console comes with it. Dual zone climate control, rain sensitive wipers are all part of that package. Get an Alpine sound system with a subwoofer, which is pretty good if you're into cooking the sound up. Power pedals are also in there. A couple other things that were added to this: LED bed lights. It's got a backup alarm in it, and the spray-in bed liner, which is kind of nice as well. So it's got so help protect yourself when you're throwing your garbage in there and stuff, and rocks and stuff like that. It shouldn't scratch up the boxes bad. So across the front, you notice it's got this big hood decal up here, this black decal there. The idea behind that is this is supposed to suck up the glare of the sun beating off the hood so you don't get it reflected into your eyeballs. I think it just looks cool more than anything, but that's what it's for. Nice Ram logo, unique grill, so you get kind of like the Warlock grill, kind of hooped over with the Ram logo in the front there. It looks pretty good. You'll also notice that it's got the Warren winch. So this is tucked in behind. You can see it. I don't even know if this thing's ever been used. Probably not, because the hand control has still got the zip ties on inside. You also see it's got the plug here. This just lifts off. That's where you plug your Warren winch into with the hand control. So if you're pulling yourself out, you're good to go. You also got tow hooks on either side. So if you're going to run a loop, like say a snatch block to loop it back in on yourself, you got a good place to secure it to. Or if you're just plain pulling your buddies out, it's handy for that too. Front park sensors. Those are going to start beeping if you're about to run into anything when you're going nice and slow. So that makes it a little bit easier to hopefully not run over stuff, because it is quite a high truck because it sits a little bit taller, these Power Wagons. LED lights, okay, so those are going to light up when they're running. Gives it kind of a unique look when you're sitting there. It's a pretty cool looking truck. Nice rims. They got the black with the aluminum on the outside, nice and shiny, so they just look good. Inside, this is the articulating arms that we're talking about, the front suspension links. You can kind of see them in there a little bit. Front coils, heavy-duty shocks, all that kind of stuff. Has the trailer tow mirrors on it, so you got the convex mirror and your bigger mirror. These also just lift up out of the way like that. So if you are pulling a trailer, it gives you a little bit better visibility out the sides. Inside, these are the leather seats we were talking about. You also get the cool Power Wagon stitched in on the seats there. Just kind of dresses it up a little bit, makes it somewhat unique. Power passenger seat, power recline forward and back. A lot of times you'll be looking at a vehicle that might only be on the driver's side, not on the passenger side, so it's kind of nice to have it there. Also get the Power Wagon badge in here. This little tray just opens up. You get a little place in there to keep some stuff out of the way. And then this opens up in here, and then your glove box and your owner's manual and everything in there. All-weather mats. They go up the side there a little bit to help protect the carpet. You also see it's got the Ram logo head built right into it. Just kind of embossed, boldy, kind of sticks up a little bit so it looks cool. Door trim, a little bit of carbon fiber, metal, vinyl, so it's all kind of dressed up. They kind of contrast the materials there just to make it look nice. Little storage pockets in here, another storage pocket in there for more junk. In the back, we got a bench seat with a fold-down armrest. This does flip up out of the way if you want, so you can seat 3 people in the back, so it becomes a 5-passenger. Also got a couple of cup holders there, a couple more cup holders here. It's a little wider. If you take a look at it, it's got like this part here. I always thought that was for handles, but actually what it's for is so you can pop an iPad in there, and then the kids can watch TV in the back seat if you're going on a longer trip. USB ports for charging those Apple iPads and your phones. It's also got heated seats for the rear passengers, so we can kind of click those on, and it'll heat the outboard passenger seats up as well. So the rear passengers are comfortable. Little bar flips up. There's your subwoofer for the Alpine sound system. This also flips over. Just kind of put those bars if you want like a flat load floor. Makes it kind of easy to slide your cargo in. I've also seen guys flip those over and they store like tools underneath here and on top. So it kind of gives you like a little divider. Makes things a lot easier to hook up. Storage bins in here. These just lift up. It's got these removable trays. You can just lift these out if you want. Gives you just a place to kind of store some odds and ends that you want to keep in your truck. Like a roadside safety kit, jumper cables, tow ropes, extra work gloves, that kind of stuff. Just a great place to store it. That way it's in there when you need it. You're not all looking around trying to figure out where you left it. Cool Power Wagon badging on the box side. That's kind of a kickback to the 60s, I think, when they were running with those. So kind of a throwback. It's kind of nice. Ram logo on the back, all stands out. It says Power Wagon, just in case anybody's confused what kind of truck it is. Big hitch, if you're going to be pulling a trailer, it's all ready to go. You can just slide your, this is a 2.5 inch, which is the standard size, but you'll notice it's got nice big open tow hooks here, so it's easy to hook on your safety chains. It's got a 4-pin for a smaller trailer, and then your 7-pin for, if you're pulling anything with electric brakes. More of those sensors that we looked at earlier that are going to beep at you if you're about to back into something, so they'll trip off as well. Spray and body liner like we talked about, so you can kind of see it's all, this is a real heavy-duty paint, like it's nice and strong. I mean, you can still dent it and stuff, but it just stands up a lot better from scratches and stuff like that. It's got some LED lights built into the box. You can see what you're doing. Also has a little plug here. If we flip that up, it's got like a little plug-in. And the idea there is that you can plug in your charger, anything that's going to draw a small electrical load, like charging a battery pack, or maybe running like a little compressor or something like that to, pump up an inner tube or that kind of thing, right? Across the sides here, we'll take a look inside. Open the door here, just so you can kind of see the seats. This flips up. On this side, instead of the subwoofer, there's like a little storage bin. You can kind of see a place to keep stuff out of the way. It's got these little dome snaps. These just hook in down here, like that, and then that just keeps it from rattling when you're going over bumps and stuff. You also got these little LED lights. They just light up the floor, the footwell, and those can be controlled from the dash settings as well. Okay, in the front, let's hop up here. We got power windows, power locks, power mirrors. These mirrors do fold in. If we press that button, you can kind of see they're folding in there. And I'm going to press it again, and we're going to fold them back out, just like that. Okay, and you'll also see it's got this button here. So because they're power operated, if I turn this on, that's going to allow me to adjust that little convex mirror out there as well as the big mirror. So it makes it a lot easier if you're hooking up a trailer. You don't have to kind of adjust the mirrors and then sit back in your seat and make sure it's okay and keep climbing over, because it's got the power adjust on both. Power driver's seat, same as the driver's or the passenger side we looked at it a few minutes ago. Hop in. We have power pedals here for moving our pedals in and out. Nice thing about that is if you're a bit shorter, it allows you to get a little bit further away from the steering wheel. It's a little bit safer for you. Just fire it up. Go through the little Power Wagon logo thing. Okay, so we got our normal speedometer. Nice big tack. A nice big speedometer over here. It's got 49,571 kilometers on it at the time of the video that we're doing this. So nice low mileage. Still lots of warranty left on it. On this side, we got a little touch pad. That's for changing the screens in here. So there's all kinds of different information a guy can access out of there. Distance to empty, fuel economy. If you have any check engine lights, it'll store them in there. I'll tell you what's going on. There's all kinds of great stuff in there. So if you're doing some off-road things, there's some screens in there to access that as well. So super handy to take the time to figure out what's all back in there. Over here, we got our cruise control. You can... that's pretty straightforward. Anybody who's used cruise control knows how to use that. And then this is your gear range selector. So what it is an 8-speed automatic with this engine transmission combination. And sometimes you may want to downshift and limit the amount of gears that you're going to give the vehicle access to. So if you're going down a steep hill, you can use this to downshift. Or let's say you only want it to shift into third gear for whatever reason, you could just only give it access to 3 gears. Okay, so these buttons here, now this is kind of where we get into some of the unique features that are on the Power Wagon. So down here we've got our axles. So axles are unlocked. So basically what that means is just going to send the power to the passenger's rear wheel. Okay. Now we can also lock the rear axles up if we want by hitting this button here. And what that does is it's going to lock both rear axles together, so they're going to move at exactly the same speed. Now we can also access the front and rear lock if we hit this button. Now we have to be in 4x4 low in order to do this. But once you hit this button, it'll lock the front axles together and the rear axles together, so everything's going to chew all at the same speed. Makes for a fabulous 4x4. Like it just does all kinds of great stuff. So you can really, like I said, you can get yourself really, really stuck if you got those engaged. Two-wheel drive, 4 high and 4 low. So that's all pretty straightforward. So you got your you just hit the button basically when you're driving to engage 4x4. If you want, you can also disconnect the front sway bar link by doing that. And what that does is it disconnects that front sway bar. You have to be in four-wheel drive in order to do that, of course. But what it does is it allows those front wheels so the sway bar doesn't get engaged, so it stops it from swinging up and down. And it just makes it so those front wheels will move a whole bunch more, so you can keep that contact patch with the tire more in contact with the road. So it's great. Like, let's say you're doing some climbing over a bunch of rocks or stumps or real hilly terrain, that kind of stuff. That's when you're going to want to be able to disconnect that. Over here we got our trailer brake controller. So if you're pulling a trailer, you can engage the trailer brakes just by doing that. We also have this button here. This is more of a hill descent control feature. So you engage that, and what it does is it just uses the vehicle to think of it like a slow motion cruise control for when you're going down a steep hill. So once you're in 4 low, you engage this, you set it to use these plus minus buttons over here on the shifter, and you just set the speed that you're going to be going to, and it'll hold back the engine when you're going down a steep hill. We're going to use our traction control by hitting that. If we want to disable that, what it'll do is it'll allow the engine to spin the rear wheels. Otherwise, it's going to engage your traction control, and it'll help stop them from spinning. Kind of not a bad idea. Like, say you're out doing some 4x4 on some gravel or stuff like that, you may want to disable that. Like if you want to drift or something like that, you're going to need those rear tires to spin. Or say you want to get unstuck out of a snowbank, you want to spin your tires, you can just do that as well. Tow haul mode just changes the software parameters, like when the vehicle is going to shift and stuff. So that's all engaged with the software. And then you can turn your park sensors off on the front and rear. Those are those little circles in the bumpers that we were looking at earlier. Sometimes you're going to get covered in mud, or maybe you're backing up and you're trying to hook up a trailer and the thing's beeping at you. You can just reach over and shut those off so you don't have to listen to it. Heated seats, cooled seats, heated steering wheel, and same for the passenger on the front. So if you want to use those features, you can. You can also access those buttons through the touchscreen. I'll show you here in a second, but I like to use the buttons. I just find it easier. Air conditioning, you can turn it off and on where you want the air to blow. You also have an automatic mode. That's probably what you're going to use most of the time. So what you do is just turn on the auto. You can see the temperature up here is at low. I'm going to turn the dial over here. And you can see I've set the temperature now to about 20 degrees Celsius. I'm going to sync them up so they're both the same temperature now, the driver and the passenger. And away you go. The vehicle will decide what it needs to do, and it'll automatically set the temperature at 20 degrees. So on our home screen, we've got access here to the radio station, and then if I had my phone paired up, you'd see all my phone calls and stuff over here. We can also hit this button if we want to access the temperature controls. We can turn our heated seats and our heated steering wheel off right through there. The other way to do it is to go through the comfort button. So here's where all your heater controls are, where you want the air to blow, all that kind of stuff. So once again, it's a version of the touch buttons we saw down below. And you can also hit the seat button if you like, if you just want to access those. These are programmable, these screens. If you want, you can access these. You can add different widgets. You can say, well, I want my temperature stuff over here, and on this side I would like to put something to do with my seats and my steering wheel. So now if you had this as an optional screen set up, now you can control all your heat from here, and you control all your heat temperatures on your seats and heated steering wheel from over there. If you want to go back to the main screen, bang, you just hit it, and you're back to where you were. Radio station, just a bigger screen. This is where you access all your stereo, your equalizer. You go through the audio button there if you want to adjust your bass, treble, that kind of stuff. You can select your different sources like AM, FM, Sirius XM. If you got your phone paired up, it'll do that. USB ports, if you got some kind of media player plugged in, you can use it that way. I do recommend that you do download the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, whatever phone you're using. Download onto your phone, and then when you pair your phone, it'll override this phone button here, and then it'll just mirror your cell phone onto the touch screen. Makes it a lot easier to use. So you can use your Apple Maps, Google Maps, if you're listening to Spotify, certain kinds of music, or like say you've got a different type of media player on your phone, or podcasts, that kind of stuff. Basically anything you can do with your cell phone, it just shows up there. Okay. I don't think it won't let you watch Netflix or anything like that I'm aware of. I heard somebody said there was a bypass one time you could do that, but that seemed overly complicated to me. But there is ways of having your phone paired up, so it's great for listening to music, that sort of stuff. Heater controls, we kind of went over that. Vehicle settings, so here's where you access all your vehicle and you set up the vehicle the way you want it to. So this is where you would program like how long your headlights are going to stay on. When you fire your vehicle up, let's see here, we'll go down to that feature. I'll just show you that. Ooh, up one here, seats and comfort, here we go. So when you turn your vehicle on, do you want your heated seats to turn on every time you start the vehicle? Well, heated seats are cooled seats. What it does is it decides if it's cold or hot, and every time you start the vehicle, it'll automatically turn the heated seats on for you, or the cooled seats, depending on what it needs to do. You can also turn that off, or you can make it just work on remote start. I like to do it on all starts, but anyway, you can program virtually everything on this vehicle. So, like I say, on your display settings, you can even get in here what language you want, what theme do you want for background. So there's tons of programming in here that's available to you to customize it the way you want it. In the center console, we've got some USB ports here for charging stuff up. Got a place to sit your cell phone. You can kind of jam it in there, and it'll keep it from rolling around. Nice little storage cubbyhole here. Keep your credit cards. Storage down here. This tray it's just got a liner. You can lift that out to clean it if you want. Another plug-in port. So this is kind of the same thing that was in the trunk. So you could plug like a laptop in there or something if you want to use it for keeping your battery charged, that sort of stuff. It's not going to run anything heavy, like running a hairdryer or something is going to be pretty hard on it. Like anything that does a big electrical load, but you can run, lighter stuff. A couple of cup holders. This tray comes out as well. You'll notice too, you can take it and flip it around if you want, put it back in, and then you got your coin holder at the front, so that's kind of a neat idea. Armrest, nice big armrest. It is solid too. It's not kind of, flimsy or anything. Like you can lean on that, you're not going to break it. Inside a nice felt lined area, so if you don't want to get anything scratched, it's a good place to store it. Another USB port. Then that flips up, and now you got even more storage. It's got a little divider thing that flips up. I don't know if that's going to show up in the video very good or not, but there's a little divider here we can flip up. And then this is our power cord for our winch. You can see the thing looks like brand new. It doesn't even look like the connector cables have ever been plugged in. And then you just plug into that hole we looked at in the bumper, and then you use this to move your winch in and out if you're going to be winching yourself out of the muck and the guck. Okay, overhead, a couple more things to go over. We got some plug-ins here, or some buttons here I want to go over. This is for opening and closing your sliding rear window. And then this button here is SiriusXM Guardian. That's a subscription-based thing like your SiriusXM radio. But this will allow you to use an app on your phone to start your vehicle. You can use the app on your phone to lock, unlock it, find it if it ever gets stolen. It's got a bunch of other stuff. I recommend you, at least maybe hook up to it and try it for a while, see what you think. Maybe do some reading on it and decide if that's something you want to subscribe to or not. I think it's $25 a month last time I looked into it. I've had it on my demos before. I never used it. I just used the key fob remote start. But I do know some people that have had it where their vehicle's parked, they can't see where it's parked during the day when they get off work, and then they can just start it off their phone rather than, walking outside and clicking and then walking back in. Just allows you to start it from, a long ways away. SOS, if we hit that, the RCMP are going to show up. So it's kind of like a safety thing. And then another button here, we can just hit that button. It'll pop open the tailgate and drop it so we can get our stuff out of the back or load it up, whichever you want. So it makes things a little bit easier. Okay, appreciate you taking the time to watch our video. Lots of cool stuff in this Power Wagon. And like I said, because it's used one, you're saving yourself a ton of money versus a new one. So it's a pretty good buy out there for somebody. So give us a call. Let's get together, have a cup of coffee, and we'll send you home in a new truck. We hope to see you soon.